favorite spoon from the kitchen, and it's got a break in it. You can see right there. So I'm gonna go out to my shop here and find a piece of scrap wood and make some more spoons. So I was just kind of looking around. Got lots of different kinds of wood. Let's see. Here's a piece that looks pretty good. Let's see if this spoon fits on this piece of wood. Let's see. Well, looks not bad. We can probably get a couple spoons. It's a pretty thick piece of wood, so we can probably get 2 spoons thick. Took the spoon and traced around it with a pencil, as you can see right here. So we got kind of a rough idea of the spoon size, and now we're going to take it over to the bandsaw and just do some rough cuts. Cut off this, cut off that, cut this off, cut that off, and then we'll turn it on its side and put it through the blade that way. Alright, so we're over on the bandsaw. And we'll just make a couple small cuts here. Cut these out here, so I'm going to do that with 2 hands, so put this down. I just made 2, one cut there and one cut there, and I'm going to turn it around and this side. Cut 1/2 off like this side, cut that off, and now we'll cut this piece off right here. Just cut the other piece off. And we've got a rough idea of what that spoon's going to be. We're going to cut it in half, but I'll wait till I shape it. That way I can get the shapes almost exactly the same on both of the spoons before I cut it in half. Little sanding station on this bench. Just had to rebuild the carburetor in my chainsaw, and I've got a project guitar here. I've got a Martin D41. I just cut the back off it and have to rebuild it. It was all broken, had a bunch of all the bracing is bad, and so that's a project for later in the week. But on to sanding the spoon. We're using this Porter Cable 4x24 sander, and I have a couple of these mats. They're heavy duty mats I've had forever, and I made this little jig here that I put it down in between the mats like that, and then I can put the sander on its side, and it makes you'll see I'll set it right in there in just a second. Okay, so you can see the side of this thing. I just traced it on there and set it right down in there. And that will be all set, and then I'm gonna basically turn that on with a really rough belt, like maybe a 50 grit, and just get a rough sand on these things on this spoon, just to basically get the shape, and then I'll resaw it, so I'll have 2 of them. much in the right shape. Where's our other one here? Let's go grab that and kind of match it up. You know, we're pretty close. So now we'll go over to the bandsaw again. And we're gonna, since it's such a thick piece of wood, we'll cut it in half and we'll make at least 2 of these. We might be able to get 3. Let's see if we can get 3 here. I don't think there's quite enough to get 3. We'll just do 2. Set up the fence and offset it on the blade. This is it's got a pretty big blade in it. That's a resaw blade, a Timberwolf resaw blade on my Grizzly bandsaw. So we're gonna cut it, slice it right down the middle now. There you have it. It wasn't perfectly cut down the middle, but it's pretty close. So now we got 2 spoons, and we're gonna take those over and we'll just work on the sander to rough them out and get them pretty darn close, and then we'll carve out a little bit of dish in the spoon. Okay, we've got it pretty nicely roughed out, so I can't do much more on this sander the way it is. A bit of using this sander, but it's really not working well, so I just grabbed a block of wood and some 60 grit sandpaper, and I'm just gonna sand away until I get it pretty close to the size or the shape I want, and then we'll go in to this area here and cut that out, probably with some type of chisel or scoop or something like that. This is the gouge that I started with, but I'm going to go to a smaller one now, pretty small, so that I can try to carve this out a little bit more easily. Okay, you can see we've got it pretty much all sanded out. I went from using the 60 grit to 80 grit to 100 grit, and I'm going to do just a tiny bit more just to make sure there are no kind of, I like to have it all curvy, but you can see we got a nice pretty good edge there, and then we'll put some mineral oil on it, and it will make that grain jump right out. Here's the piece that we sliced in half. You can see we made a spoon with a little indentation on that part there. I'm going to round it out the handle compared to this piece of square one, which I'll make another one, of course, with that. And here's our broken one that we started with, and I'm going to put some mineral oil on it, and it'll be all done. Okay, I'm going to take some just some basic mineral oil. I can get it anywhere. We use it to put on our cutting boards and things like that. So I'm just going to take some and pour it into the end of the spoon here. See if I can put that on the counter, and then I'll wipe it around. So I got about a teaspoon or so of the oil, and it's going to make the okay, so now you can see the spoon, and you can see that the tiger maple, everything kind of jumped right out, as you would expect. So now we've got our nice new spoon. Now you can see the spoons all together here. You see that nice flamed maple jumping out at you. So it's not like the wood that this was made out of, which is probably, I would guess, just poplar, something like that. But once you put the mineral oil on it, it really jumps out compared to, before you do that. But this is, instead of throwing that piece of wood away, now we have a nice spoon. So now I'll go in the kitchen and make something really good with it. Hope you enjoyed it.